If they want a quick game, coming in, let's fucking get it. Let's blow them away with our running. Let's be intense in every action that we do. Let's make it a quick game. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Come on. Welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC, the big match preview. It is here. The preview is here. The big cup final preview. This is it. Carabao Cup Final. Newcastle against Liverpool. Don't get much bigger than this, Chris. Sorry, Daz.
Chris?
Where's Chris? He's not even here. Don't get any bigger than this. How you feeling?
All good.
Let's chat.
Yeah, no, all good. Pete, yeah, no, a lot of positivity, apart from Specs yesterday. And of course, Chris isn't here because he's writing an apology letter to Nick Pope, I think, after what he said last night about poor Nick Pope. But looking forward to this. Looking forward to chatting to Errol and all the build-up. We've been building up all week, but this is the official one.
Yeah, definitely. The big match preview. It's I'm excited. I really am. It's a chance for history. It's a chance to end that 70-year drought. It's going to be difficult. And look, let's get down to it, because there's only one way we do this on a preview, is that we get the opposition view. So we'll get the main man in. We'll get Errol in from Red Men TV. Let's bring him in, Daz. Let's get talking.
Does Errol want a quick game? Because we'll give it to him. Yeah.
Yes, the boys. What's happening? Now? Are we okay?
Yeah, all good. Look, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you taking the time. I know you've been busy. You were at Anfield. I saw a clip earlier doing some work for Liverpool on their official website. What's going on? Talk to us about that before we get into the game.
Nah, do you know what it was? Yeah. So I was doing a competition for Peloton, one of their digital brand partners for like fitness. They had a prize giveaway as a part of a competition. So there was like 3 rounds. They had to whittle down about 50 odd contestants down to 6, and then those final 6 contestants, 2 of them had to race on the pitch at half time at Anfield. It actually happened in the Newcastle game probably about 2 weeks ago now. So yeah, that was all filmed. So I was kind of like waiting for it all to kind of obviously let them do what they need to do, get the all clear to release it, and they've released it now and it's gone out online. So yeah, if you do want to check it out on any of Liverpool socials, it's across Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at the moment. And yeah, the content's flying, man. So it was surreal because obviously I got to be on the pitch and experience. I seen a couple of your lads in the tunnel as well. Some of your guys are huge, like absolute huge, though, like the proper units. But yeah, it was great experience. Obviously, I got a little bit of a glimpse up close of your lads as well, in terms of obviously, you know, how they may line up. Again, me and Pete have spoke since that match anyway, and you know, I kind of said I think you were kind of holding yourselves back a little bit because there wasn't much of a fight from Newcastle on the night. But I expect this cup final to be completely different, to be honest.
Definitely completely different this time round. We said it as well, Daz. We felt that Newcastle, with Isak not playing, you know, certain players, you know, being rested and taken off early. It was. Do you think it was mind games? It kind of gives me the feeling it was.
Yeah, especially if Isak wasn't 100% fit, and I'd say he could have probably played some part, but yeah, there was no point in all leading up to this. But yeah, I think it's a totally different proposition, and I suppose as well we've never haven't been won in Anfield for so long. So yeah, this is a totally different game, a one-off game, and we're definitely going to be up for this one. No doubt about it.
I can see how excited you man are, you know. Like I haven't had, like, this has been a mad week, so it's only really been like today I've allowed myself to start getting excited for Sunday, because obviously we had a little bit of a upset midweek, but the big games just keep coming thick and fast, so you just have to switch your mind to it. You get me?
Yeah, definitely. Look, we are excited, but because it's been so long, in our lifetime, we haven't seen us win a major trophy. Like it's obviously different for you guys, but can you see why we're excited at the potential of us actually, potentially winning a trophy for the first time in that long? Oh, I think we might have lost Errol for a second. I think we've definitely lost Errol for a second.
He was thinking about it.
Yeah, I thought he was thinking about it. I think he was in deep thought, but he will be back in just a second. But yeah, it's just the magnitude of the whole situation, Daz. It's reaching fever pitch. I've just seen tonight before we went live, Warflags put a
I saw it as well.
Video out of the little clip. Like it's just there's so much going on. It is absolutely massive. And Errol, I was just asking before you cut out, like just can you understand from a Newcastle point why we're excited about all of this? Just because, like, it's been 70 years, we haven't seen our team win a major trophy, and we're excited at the potential of it. Obviously, it's slightly different for you because you've won a lot of trophies over the years, particularly the big ones: Premier League, Champions League. Probably about to win the Premier League again. Can you understand it from our perspective why it's such a big game for us?
Oh, lad, 100%, absolutely. And, we have this conversation. It's funny because we have these conversations on, Potter's channel, Race for Europe, and there are a couple of, dead G to be specific, ones to throw out there that, I'd rather just finish in top 4 than pick up silverware. And I just kind of get my head around it from it. Like, again, I get that, like, there is always, like, the pedigree of trophies, but when you get yourself to a final, forget what the pedigree is, just win the bloody thing. And I think that should be the same feeling whether you are well established as Liverpool Football Club is in terms of their trophy haul, or you are Burnley, or do you know what I mean? Whoever, a club that isn't used to seeing silverware ultimately. I could say Spurs as well. I'm not trying to troll, but there are those clubs as well that don't have that rich history. But Newcastle have been unlucky, I'd say, in the last couple of years. You have really re-establish yourselves as a real consistent force within the Premier League, I think it's fair to say. I think there's also the aspect of, he's got to a League Cup final, pipped by Manchester United, probably not a great United side, so that may, again, from the outside looking in, might have looked like a bit of a missed opportunity. He's then bounced back by getting into Europe, so in itself, it feels like a huge accomplishment, even if it's not necessarily tangible silverware. He's having a fantastic campaign in Europe in terms of, right, we were re-established, we're at the top table, let's enjoy it as much as we can, and obviously we'll make of it what we can, but we're not expecting, to emulate the success of Manchester City or a Chelsea or a Man United or a Liverpool, but we do want to represent ourselves really well. And then, of course, again, now this season, dropping out of that, falling short of some obviously European competitions, you kind of really want to buffer that again now by saying, right, well, we've got ourselves to a cup final. Let's get over the line this time. Eddie Howe and these boys have been there or thereabouts for the last couple of seasons. Let's just get it over the line. And I get that. And I think from the players' perspective, you could see it in the way that they performed the other day. They've got one eye on it. They've had one eye on it for a while. Yeah, they probably do want to finish the league strong, but silverware, what it would mean for the city, what it would mean for that fan base after 70 years, they'd go down in history as all legendary players, I can imagine. So it's something that they've definitely got their mind's eye fixed on.
Definitely. Absolutely. I mean, the interviews that have been going out the last few days, whether it's been Isaac, Bruno has done a few interviews as well. And
Bruno said it'd be like the World Cup, didn't he?
Yeah. That was actually after the game against West Ham, but he's had another interview since, and he's a few, in fact, because it's all media in the build-up to the cup final. Loads of them have been talking, they've just been saying how important this is, and they haven't, we question them, and particularly when we lost 4-0 against Man City, we question whether they were kind of distracted by this, and they've, particularly Bruno and others, have been honest. They've said, yeah, like this is like a huge game, not just for the players, for the fans, but for the club. Everything like sort of riding on this, and it's just massive for us for so many reasons. And I just do you worry about that, Errol? Do you worry about how big this is for Newcastle United and how much emphasis we are putting on winning this? Because I'll be honest, and Daz, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we came out with this type of talk in the build-up to the Man United one 2 years ago. The emphasis of us just talking about we want to win this trophy. This is it. This is the big game for us. Like, did we do that last time? Because I don't.
Yeah, no,
remember.
that's where I was going to jump in with as well. Like the last time, it seemed like a bit of a party atmosphere before we even got to the final, and then there was a party in London before the actual game, and it was just, even though at the time we didn't know, we'd only Karius to put in goal, who they were playing pretty much his first game for us. You know all about him, it's a different, it's more focused this time. No, I haven't watched the player kind of infuse that's come out in the last day or so, but it just seems more focused, and yet we're going down to do a job this time, not to enjoy the occasion. We're going to do a job, and
I get that
coming
sense.
second best isn't good enough, you know. So we're playing an unbelievable Liverpool team, but put up a good show. You know, that we didn't last time. So put the wrongs right of the last final.
And I think that I get that sense because we've been there ourselves, you know, with the Champions League as a comparison, you know, falling up short against Real Madrid the first time under Klopp. And it wasn't like we were partying, we genuinely felt we had a chance, but obviously it ends unfortunately for us, obviously, to carry us again, kind of at the you know, the scene of the crime for that competition. But it just felt like the next time we get there, we have to do the job. So when it was Spurs, it didn't need to be swashbuckling. It didn't need to be rock and roll football. It didn't need to be the style of game that we had seen for the majority of the season. It simply just needed to be get the job done. And that hurt kind of fueled us. So I think in terms of your project, where you are at, what the expectations are, it would take a huge lift of pressure off Eddie Howe and his backroom staff. If he got it over the line, I could see that there'd be more of a confidence. There'd be more of okay, we're on the right track. You know, we've had European, you know, results and accomplishments. We've had silverware in recent times. The new ownership, we're now looking to bolster the squad in the summer. Everything's pointing to the right direction from a Newcastle perspective. If you get it over the line, I think falling short twice, you probably then start to add some more doubt to the conversation. The reinforcements have to be heavier. The need to keep hold of your star players needs to be reinforced as well. So there's a lot riding on it for both teams, but I can understand why the expectation from a Newcastle perspective is massive this year.
Are you worried by it?
After the events of this week, mate, and again, we've played a lot of footy in the last 6 weeks where I'm just like, I said it to myself the other day, our season could be over by Sunday, for better or for worse, because at that point we were still in the Champions League, but there was no guarantee that we was going to get through PSG. So if that could be our last big, quote unquote, big game on a European stage. And then obviously now that's happened, we're out. And then obviously Sunday is a one-off game. Anyone can win, anyone can turn up. Add to the fact that we had to do extra time and we had to do pens, and then we don't get the results. The lads have got to dust themselves off. But you know, there's been a game management to a level for a number of weeks that's just felt like self-contained, good enough. But we haven't really hit third or fourth gear, where we're like, right, we're going for the jugular. Teams can't live with us. We're all over teams. It's almost as if like when we need to flick the switch, we'll do it. We'll get the jobs done, and then we kind of shut up shop because we know we're conscious of the next game, and there's a bit of energy that we need to reserve in the tank. So to an extent, the game management's been good in how we've managed energy levels up until probably the last 2 weeks has been really good. Players at the moment, they do look a little bit fatigued. We've had a couple more worrying shouts from injuries as well over the last. I know you guys have as well, so it's not something that I can really sit here and complain too much about.
What's the situation? Because
we've got.
I didn't see it live, but that looks bad. Like, but what's
I was doing a watch along. I felt
as well.
Yeah, well, we've already got Gomez out right back option, Bradley out right back option, Trent definitely out. So we've got no recognised right back. It would have to be Kwanzaa. which again, he came on, did his thing on Tuesday, looked good, but he's not Bradley, he's not Trent, okay? Then Canate is the fatigue element of it, but all of a sudden you've got no cover in the centre-backs if you're already playing your cover centre-back at right-back. Then you've got probably someone like an Endo that would have to drop in there and do a job. But then you've got fatigue within Ryan Gravenberch. So does that mean that James McDonald comes in and does he plug a gap if at some point? So that's pretty much, it's more defensive concerns more than anything else at this particular moment in time. But as I was saying, it just felt like come Sunday, the season could be over because we don't have to find another gear in the Premier League. The Premier League can make out that the games are massive and they're huge, but for all intents and purposes, as long as Liverpool continue to do what Liverpool have been doing for the majority of this season, winning games at a bit of a canter, we're going to be crowned Premier League champions. So there's not that elation of like, this is going to be huge. Like, Arsenal are breathing down our neck. Every game's a 6-pointer, or, there's a 3-point swing here and there. It's like, we're that close to the finish line in the Prem, and once Sunday's dealt with, they might not feel like another big game. It might just feel a little bit like, business as it is, and which is I'm fine with, by the way. Like to win a Premier League and not have to feel that immense stress and going down to the wire is going to be brilliant, and we can hopefully just enjoy it. But there's something about having high octane, high stakes football week in, week out that really gets the blood flowing. And I just think at times Liverpool have thrived off that environment. This season we've done it in quite a controlled and measured way.
Yeah.
So come what happens on Sunday, fine. I can understand why Newcastle are going to throw the kitchen sink at it, but I would be aware from a Newcastle's perspective that you're going into the Lions' den with a wounded animal, and wounded animals have a tendency to bite back.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Daz, this was part of our conversation yesterday because we were saying exactly this, and we sort of asked the question to our panel last night, saying, what's the situation with Liverpool? Is it going to be that they're a wounded animal and there's something to be worried about, or are they going to be wounded because you were knocked out of the Champions League, where you would have had confidence when the draw was made that you would get through, and you didn't? Has that knocked their confidence? Could that then seep into the game on Sunday? So you're of the mindset, Errol, that it is going to be a wounded animal and they're going to react. That's how you see it.
Well, I'm hoping they react, mate. Like, I genuinely hope that they do react. I hope they feel angry. Not really hard done to. There's never a shame of losing to a better side, or a side that gives as good as you do on the day, and obviously just have that little bit more edge than you. Do you know what I mean? There was no real controversy as far as I could see. There was no real big moments where you think, I think the ref was a bit shit, but we're used to that, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? And as I say, you guys are wounded animals, 70 years deep wounded animals, you get me? So it's a very good point. And I hope that, because, mate, I'm not a player, so I can't perceive it in the same way. But I hope they feel that, like, us as fans need one big high-octane energy game where we just leave it all on the pitch, because I don't think we're going to have to do that after Sunday. We're going to be able to manage games from there on out, and there'll be a parade and there'll be something to celebrate regardless at the end of the season. Touch wood now. But in terms of, let's do the blood, sweat and tears, let's just go and leave it all on the pitch, I think I, as a fan, would love to see them put that type of performance in. Have they still got it in the tank? Are they going to the well one time too many? As it ran dry? I don't know, because, as I say, we've played a lot of games in a short period of time, and the rewards, again, I feel it feels a bit. The Champions League for me feels a little bit. I like the format, but it's just done Liverpool no favours in the qualification from the table, because ultimately, to finish first, you was then not going to have 2 more knockout games. We had 2 of our knockout games with Everton and Aston Villa rearranged for midweek when City was playing Real Madrid. So we still had, at that point in time, we had to win those games as well. We couldn't just manage anything, so we had to win. and then we finish first and then get rewarded with PSG. So that it was a poison chalice almost, that position for us this season. Just the way timing's happened and games been moved back and all the rest of it, it just felt like a poison chalice, because ultimately there was no real buy for Liverpool finishing first and putting in all the hard yards over the winter period of the season. So it just meant that we've played just as much footy if we'd have had to qualify, and then ultimately we could have qualified 13th and still ended up playing someone that finished second or third and then getting knocked out by them. So there's been no real benefit from a Liverpool fan's perspective. So I'm like, right, Sunday has to feel like we have to give it all again and really go for it. And I think obviously Gakpo, I seen someone in the chat there saying, you know, is Gakpo injured for Sunday? I don't think he's match fit. Yeah, Tom, I'll be honest with you, mate. And he didn't look match fit coming on the other day, which again is another massive concern for the likes of Chiesa. How is a non-fit Gakpo getting on the pitch before someone who's meant to have been on the fringes of the squad fully fit for the best part of 2-3 months nearly now? It's like it doesn't look good, I'll be honest. So yeah, there are a few things where I'm like, we're not up to full strength. But then I look at your lads and I know you guys aren't up to full strength either. So it's going to be another, and that was what the PSG turned into in the end. It was a slugfest. It was two heavyweights going, do you know what? We're just going to trade blow for blow, and eventually someone's going to hit the canvas and there'll only be one man standing. And I think Sunday, if anything, could be kind of reminiscent of that.
Just looking back on the Champions League for a second, or like we played the sympathy card there about getting PSG. We could play it too. After 20 years out of the Champions League, we get drawn with AC Milan, PSG, and Borussia Dortmund. Welcome back. It wasn't so.
No, I agree fully.
Yeah,
so
definitely. And then I don't even know where Aston Villa finished up in the league initially.
Finished eighth.
They picked up Club Brugge off that.
Yeah.
So you're right in how it works. And look, I'd have swapped this new format for last year's format last year, because I think even with our depleted squad in this new format, I think we'd have qualified for the next phase. I genuinely think we would have. So yeah, it's frustrating all round. But look, as you mentioned already, you guys have been like primed for doing this, for doing the Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday for a long while. You've been playing European football for a long while, but it does look like, in my opinion, that you do look a little bit tired. I mentioned it to a couple of the lads watching the Southampton game at the weekend, and for 50 minutes, the first 50 minutes, you look shattered. Like your players genuinely look tired, and then having to go to extra time on Tuesday wouldn't have been ideal. But you know, as you've said, you know, it'll be a case of leaving everything out there, and that's certainly what Newcastle United will be doing as well.
Yeah, but I just think as well, like that's where I think the game management over the last couple of weeks we've struggled with because of the tired legs. If we dispatch Southampton by half time, you give yourselves and your big hitters 45 minutes grace. PSG rested their entire squad. Do you know what I mean? Before their match Tuesday, we just didn't have that luxury. And I just think because Slot is like, there was a mad stat the other day that, like, you know, Slot's used the same squad or the same starting 11 more times in this one season than Jurgen Klopp did in his entirety of as a Liverpool manager, which I just struggle to believe is true, but apparently it is. And you just think Slot's admitted it multiple times. He likes the players he likes, and he'll continue to use them and start them unless something drastic happens where he can't. And then at that point, you know, it's like, even if Jones is playing really well, or even if Endo comes on and does good cameos, you know they're not going to displace the Gravenberches or the McAllisters or the Szoboszlais for too long, you know, in terms of runs of games. So on the basis of that, it's not a surprise that those players that have put in the hard yards this season, the Szoboszlais, the Robos, the McAllisters, the Gravenberch, the Ibu Konates of this world, they probably are just a little bit flagging, because it's been like Gravenberch hasn't played this many minutes since his Ajax days. You know, he didn't do it last year under Klopp. He definitely didn't do it while he was at Bayern Munich. for him to be doing it now and to perform at the level he has for 6 months has been phenomenal. But to not have somebody on his level that can just slot and you can do plug and play, it just means that when the energy level does drop, it becomes very noticeable that we haven't got that dynamism in midfield in the way that we did a couple months ago.
Errol, question for you. Look,
Yeah.
Eddie Howe doesn't watch this show, I promise you, right? But if he did, even in Eddie, what is the one weakness apart from the right back situation because it's kind of a bit up in the air? Where's the one weakness? It's difficult to find this because it's been on form that Newcastle could potentially exploit.
I'm gonna be really honest with you. In terms of exploit, I don't know if you can exploit this, but it's about using it to your advantage. And I don't want to give you too much. But one of the criticisms that I have of my team is if Salah isn't on his game and we don't provide enough for Salah in terms of opportunities in front of goal, I have a lack of trust that the other forward line, we've got goals from midfield, and the midfielders did Didges at Anfield, McAllister and Szoboszlai. But I have a lack of trust in our forward line outside of Salah. Gakpo not being fully fit, is further reasoning to that. Prior to Gakpo being fit, I was like, all right, if Salah's not on it, Gakpo's been clutch for big goals for us this season, and I can live with that. But at this moment in time, I've got a real trust. I don't know if it's down to confidence. That is the one area of the pitch where Slot has tinkered with the most to try and find someone who he can rely on, and it just hasn't stuck. And for me, I don't know how you choose to exploit that. Is it just purely keeping Salah quiet, or knowing that if you have a solid game against the Diaz's and the Nunez's or the Jotas of this world, you'll be fine. But that is, in my heart of hearts, it's the one area where I feel at this moment, yeah, you can say that we're light on legs. The midfield battle will be interesting, but it's where have we got killers up top? And for me, we at this moment, on paper, you should be able to say, yeah, they are there. Jota 12 months ago, you'd say, yeah, absolutely. Nunez, I've always been one to want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it's just getting harder and harder game by game, week by week, to really justify his place and holding it down for us. He has his moments, but you can't play on that much money, sign for that much to go for a season on moments. You need them to be prolific, and we don't have any prolific forwards at this moment outside of Salah and a fully fit Gakpo, which he's not currently.
No, noted.
It's a weakness, yeah.
Hello, Tyndall in the chat.
Welcome, boys.
Those notes, please. Get.
He likes it. He likes it.
He likes it a lot. But no, Errol, on the flip of that, from what Daz asked you, what are you worried about from a Newcastle United point of view? Where do you think those players or Newcastle's team are most dangerous? You've talked about where your weaknesses are, but where do you think Newcastle could be the most dangerous? And what are you worried about as in terms of overpowering you? Which part of the pitch?
Well, literally just that, what you just said there. Again, with the fatigue, there could be the element that on the day, your lads just steamroll our midfield just because they're a little bit fresher and you've got a little bit more energy to give, and we're a little bit off it still. If that happens and we lose the midfield battle, then my concerns of being able to get the ball to a Salah then become more real, ultimately, because obviously he is the source for our goals. So being able to have some sort of midfield presence against yours is going to be key. Matching you in midfield, physicality, technical ability, being able to stop you from building those passages of play and that slick passages of play that you can do when you get up to full flow. That is going to be absolutely crucial. But then again, what I mentioned before, yeah, them two very, very much in sync with one another. And you've got that needle, and I respect it, fully respect it. it's just like, again, are we a wounded animal that's just there to just be bowled over, or are we a wounded animal that's going to strike back and say, actually, no, we're not having this. Like, we're going to let our quality shine through. It will all, we are just yet to see. But I then also think on the flip side of that, Newcastle can live in moments as well. So if you survive sustained amount of pressure, if you survive, you know, Liverpool's onslaught, whatever that looks like, you can hit with a lot of pace. And you've got a couple of players. I know Gordon's not available, but you've got the likes of, is it Murphy? I want to say Murphy. Is it Murphy? Am I right in saying?
Yeah. Jacob Murphy.
Yeah. Quick lad. And you've also got, obviously Alexander Isak. And like in terms of players that I've seen really cause Van Dijk headaches in the Premier League, he's been one on a number of occasions, and he loves a goal against us. He loves strutting his stuff against teams in red, teams in the top half of the table in red. Isak's got a little bit of a thing for doing. So yeah, from my perspective, trying to keep him quiet. Yeah, and that midfield three, because I think your midfield three on their day is top 1, 2, 3 maybe in the Premier League.
Yeah, lots of people have said it, but it's nice to actually have them back as a three, because Joe Linton's been out for a few weeks. His first game back was West Ham. That's the first time in a while we've seen them together, and we kind of got to see them actually at their best. I'm going to shoot through because I know time's limited with you, Errol. I'm going to move straight to the tactics board now, and I would like you, if you can, to pick your 11 of what you think will start the game against Newcastle. I think you might have frozen. So, Daz, I'm going to come to you.
I'll pick the Liverpool team. Great. John Aldridge, Ian Rush.
Talk to us. You pick the Newcastle 11.
Okay, while we're waiting for her to
let's
come
go
back.
Newcastle 11 first, for sure.
I'm going to skip the goalie for a second, and because we'll come back to that in a sec. Okay, look, it's going to be Tino at left back, Trips at right back.
Okay.
Sharon Byrne.
Yeah. Go for it.
Tonali in the number 6. Bruno on the right. J7 on the left.
Lovely. Okay.
Murphy on the right. See how this can be done quick, Chris. Isak in the middle. I'm going to put Barnes in from his performance the last day, and I'm going to pause on the goalkeeper and let Errol in, and let Errol pick his 11 for Liverpool. Then
go for it. So yeah, Errol, welcome back. But
sorry, my internet's bugging tonight, gents. Do apologise.
No, don't worry. My internet's been funny all day, so I think it's going around at the moment. Internet providers playing up as normal. But look, talk to us about your 11. Who are you going to go for? And there's been a number of people in the chat that have talked about, is Kelleher going to play? Is Alisson going to play? How do you see that one working? And how do you see the rest of the team?
I will just say it was Dan Burn that I seen in the tunnel, and he's massive. He is massive, bro.
Like 6'7".
Yeah, if not more. Because obviously I've stood next to Virg as well. I've stood next to Virgil van Dijk, and I was looking at Dan Burn thinking, lad, you're like a man mountain. Like the TV just doesn't do you justice, our kid, because you're huge. But yeah, I think I'd have. I would give it to Kelleher, because for me, this is Kelleher's competition, and he's earned the right to go the distance in this competition. For me personally, he's earned the right. He's not put a foot wrong. I thought he's been a very adequate deputy for Alisson when Alisson was out injured for 3 months. He didn't put a foot wrong. The manager made his stance very clear that when Alisson's fit, Alisson's going to be the number 1, because he is the number 1. We see, irrespective of the form, we seen why as well. Alisson came up trumps against PSG in Paris. That game could have been done after one leg if it wasn't for Alisson's heroics. But I think there is something to say to be able to have that relationship with players and say, look, this is your competition. You know, we've got a lot of respect for, you know, what you've done for us this season. You know, this is go out there and do your stuff. I think right back, you're probably looking at a Jarrell Kwanzaa now.
Okay.
After that, you're probably looking Ibu and Veg. Then right back.
Robertson played a lot of minutes.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking that. I think it may be Tsimikas to start with the prospect of Robbo coming on. Again, it probably wouldn't be my 11, but I'm trying to gauge where I think Slothead's probably at. I think midfield wise, I can see it being the.
We lost them again.
They're playing with just a 5.
Yeah. We'll take it. We will.
Yeah.
That is for sure. We will absolutely take that.
Well, while Errol is lining up again, let's move him for a sec. Let's go back to the keeper situation. Look, last night I said Dubs. I think Eddie is going to go for Pope. I'll still say Dubs, but for the purpose of the if I can put them on, for the purpose of we're picking the side that you know what, let's put Pope in. Chris will hate it. Let's do that. Just to piss off Chris. Yeah, I think Eddie's going to probably start Pope. I would play Dubs myself though.
I actually think he'll play Dubravka. I don't know why.
Do you?
Yeah.
But,
you know, I said to you boys after the show last night, like originally that was my thought. I said it in the show after the Brighton loss, that I genuinely thought that it would be Dubravka playing. Like that was what I thought it would be. Dubravka playing against West Ham, and then in the cup final. It didn't go that. He did Pope. But I just think something that I've thought about after last night's show, when he talked about in his press conference before West Ham, the fact that he almost said, without officially saying it, that Pope is his Premier League goalkeeper. And so because of that, I'm thinking, is he going with Dubravka as his cup goalkeeper? And, you know, is that part of the reason why he signed the new contract? Is that part of the reason for that? So that's where I've kind of gone with Dubravka. But I think most people think that Pope's going to start now. So we can leave it with that. But I would go with Pope personally. That's just my opinion. But I actually think
I'd go with Dubs.
Oh, yeah.
But I think so. You're the opposite of me. You'd go with Pope, but you think he's going to go. Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah.
We
are literally the opposite. We are in terms of the way we're thinking at the moment. But Errol, you back? You back with us?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'll just fly through it dead quick. So that midfield, Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, tried and tested. I think he just rolled the dice and asked them to go one more time. And then because there's no Gakpo, I think he needs Luis Diaz out on that left-hand side. Obviously, I think Mo Salah will be out on the right-hand side. And I ultimately think through the middle, he's going to go back with Diogo Jota. Wouldn't be what I would do, or if I had it my way, but I just think at this moment in time, the options up top are pretty limited. I think Nunez's confidence is back on the floor. And I think he's going to ask one of those two lads on the left and through the middle to actually make us. It's almost at the point of time to say, prove to me you still want to play for Liverpool next season. It's almost at that level of the conversations for both of them for me.
Who would you? What would you change then if it was your decision? Just before you go,
if it was my decision, I would probably. Again, because it's a neutral ground, we probably want to play like we're playing at home. But I'd probably have the box midfield. Get Jones in there, and I'd probably just have Salah and Diaz. I'd lose Jota to start off with, and then if you want to take one of the midfielders out, and then reinforce it with a Jota or a Nunez, then do that in the second half at some point after 50, 55 minutes, something like that.
Okay, interesting. Something a little bit different as well.
Yeah, yeah. He's done it a couple of times and it's worked. He did it against Manchester City and it worked really well. It really stopped them getting into their flow. But as I say, Szoboszlai and McAllister both played excellent. Those late runs into the box against your lads the other week was fantastic. And it was probably one of Luis Diaz's better games in this calendar year as well. So I can understand why you would say, right, you lads have had some joy against these players. Go out there and replicate it again for me. But yeah, no worries. As I say, lads, I am going to have to love yous and leave yous until next week. I'll love yous again next week, and I'll leave yous as enemies in a minute. But thank you very much for having us on.
Absolute pleasure to have you on, Errol, and
As always.
thank you for everything. But tell us your prediction before you go.
If you're squeezing it out of me right now, I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool, and I think it may be an extra time jobby as well.
Going the distance again.
Yeah, I think it might be 1-1 at full time, and then I could see us nicking a goal. I think it's at that point it's like we don't want to do pens again. Let's just throw the kitchen sink and leave everything on the pitch.
Okay.
If he was to go to pens, or would you consider bringing on Alisson? Or is Kelleher?
No. Kelleher's got a brilliant record as pens. I'd leave. Again, League Cup. He's won us the League Cups on pens before. I'd leave him to do it.
Fair play. Errol, absolute pleasure. Best of luck after this Sunday, for sure. But look, make sure you check out Errol on Twitter. Make sure you check him out on Redmen TV, Red Cartel, 12th Man. And as well, check him out on TikTok as well. He's got some content going out on there. We'll put all that information out there so you can see it. But Errol, best of luck.
Appreciate it, guys. Gents, take it easy. And don't enjoy your weekend too much. Peace.
I hope we do. I hope we do.
See you later.
See you later.
See you later. Great to have Errol in as well, giving his perspective on all things Cup Final, Newcastle and Liverpool. Anything to add, Daz, with regards to our team? We looked at that team. What do you make of the Kelleher shout for Errol?
Yeah, like as we were saying last night with Johnny, I think he said that Alisson's like the best keeper in the world, kind of thing. And yeah, it's interesting if they stick with the cup keeper. And I know people in the chat as well saying that's maybe what we should do as well with Dubravka. But interesting, I suppose. Like he's on his bike come the summer now, so it would for them. But it's about winning the trophy as well. Slot is going to want his first trophy. He's not going to want to mess it up. Kelleher's goalkeeper, so he'll do a job as well. Yeah,
right. That they put out. No Robertson, so Timikas at left back. Graven Birch and Szoboszlai, he mentioned earlier on that they looked really fatigued. They look tired. He's saying that they're going to go to the well again. Salah's been a bit off it. Jota's been a bit off it. Do you feel confident?
Yeah, would you swap McAllister and Szoboszlai there?
You play them.
Yeah.
I know they're popped in different positions, but yeah, Szoboszlai has played a little bit further forward.
Look, I think for us, it's that's why I said Barnes as well. I know some people were, and I was saying it myself at the start of the week, before the West Ham game, play Willock there. But no, I think Barnes was great for us against West Ham, and pops up. And like, even I was listening to a podcast on the way to work this morning, a lot of people are saying Barnes is going to be the one that nips in and gets that goal. That goal at Wembley that we haven't seen since 1976, according to Nobby Clark there. So yeah, just kind of, because all the attention is going to be on Isak, he could just swoop in there, could cut in on his right and fire one in. Love to see that happen. It's not of all the doom and gloom we had about a week and a half ago. We've had time to kind of iron out the kinks, really, that we had. It's not like the suspension came in the West Ham game, and it's all panic, and then what are we going to do? Or the injuries came in that game. We've had time to think about it, come up with a plan for this. So I'm confident Eddie has a plan for this, and I think we'll put in a performance. All the players will be up first, and then it's on the day. Can we take Liverpool, who are going to be difficult to beat? But put in a decent performance, and anything can happen.
Absolutely. We have the capabilities to cause them problems. Looking at that team and the way they're set, looking at how tired some of those players are, the fact that Errol was talking about how tired some of those players are, the fact that Liverpool fans are talking about how tired those players are, I'm not sure that they can just turn that back on again in the cup final. A little bit of it's hope, but a little bit of me is looking at their recent performances and how flagging they have looked in those games. I think that first PSG game really took it out of them, and I think they're going to be kind of maybe stumbling in. And look, they're talented players, they're quality players, but they also need to be firing on all cylinders in order to be that Liverpool that we know that they're capable of being. Whereas, Newcastle United have been kind of just plodding along a little bit. And I go back to the point I said to you, Daz, in the panel yesterday, is I've just got a feeling that Newcastle are just going to go full on 2022-23 Champions League season and just go absolutely full throttle for 90 plus minutes at Liverpool. And I'm just not sure how much Liverpool have got in the tank if we play that way. If we play full throttle football, I'm not sure how much they will have to be able to deal with that, especially with Isak, pace and power in the you look at the game on Monday, a lot of people saying, Isak wasn't really lively, didn't really have a good game. Well, it's very difficult when you've got 5 at the back of West Ham literally sitting on their own yard box, whereas you've got Van Dijk and you've got Konate that's going to be way up the pitch, because Liverpool are going to be expected to have more of the ball. They're going to be expected to do a lot more attacking, which is why it plays into Isak's hand, because there's space in behind. And if you've got that position there where Isak can run into these wide positions here and here and exploit down the middle, and you've got Bruno that can provide the ammo. Murphy, when he's on the ball, can do the same. Trippier can do the same in those positions. You've got Joe Linton, Tonali, Fabian Schär with a cross pass ball. He's got players that can provide him with the right ball into those areas. And if they do that, that's where he can really cause some problems. So I'm really, really excited to see that manifest. As well as that, Daz, talking point, I know you mentioned about putting Harvey Barnes in. How do you think that's going to match up? There has been some calls for Joe Linton to play there and to have Willock in this position in midfield. What are your thoughts on that, and how will that work? Sorry.
Then you're having Barnes on the bench to come off the bench and do what he's done before as well. But because of the West Ham game and his performance there, I'm starting him now. And have Willock as that option, because they will make that change. Eddie will make that change as well. Willock will get on the pitch at some point, whether it's from, like, I don't want to be taken off Joe Linton, but if it was, it's either for Joe Linton or Barnes, he would come on for, depending on how the game is panning out. I'm half thinking of taking out Pope, putting back Dubs. It's just a massive call. It's 50-50, I think. We won't know until the team sheet drops.
Is he going to go? Sorry, go on, Daz. Carry on.
Yeah, no, just that him starting the attack, really. And we saw a lot, as you indicated in the, I don't know what show it was, or that our back four seems to be playing the ball back to the keeper a bit as well, which they didn't need to. But then I'd like Dubravka to be there to start the kind of attack. But then again, Pope in there, he's a good throw. He can start attacks that way as well. So it's Eddie's call. Glad I don't have to make that one. That's massive.
Yeah. It's a difficult one because it all depends on what you want. Like if you want control and a bit more control with the ball at his feet, and be able to play out with the ball at your feet, then you go with Dubravka because it kind of just makes sense. But if you want a sweeper, someone that can do what, you know, a little bit like what he did against West Ham, where he came out and he made that header, you know, and he comes out and wins the header and you know, puts it. I think he puts it out up the pitch or out for a throw. Can't remember exactly what he did, but it was late on in the game. Kudus had got the beating, I think, of Trippier at that point down this sort of like our right, there, left. And he had to come out and make that. Now, in that situation, Dubravka doesn't do that. He stays on his line. Kudus probably gets the beating pace-wise of Trippier, and there's probably then got a shot on goal. So that's the difference in that. And it all depends on what you want. Some people will be saying in the chat, I want Dubravka because he's better with the ball at his feet. You know, and Pope looks a little bit, you know, uncomfortable, a little bit ropey. Some will be saying, I want Pope because he sweeps better. He might not be good with his feet, but they could quite easily play long balls through to Salah and Diaz that have got explosive pace in and behind him. Do you want someone like Pope that's going to come out and sweep in his area and come and take the ball and take the pressure off, which he has done since he's come to the club? Do you want someone that's going to be commanding in the area for corners and free kicks to be able to punch and clear and come and collect? Whereas Dubravka doesn't do that as often. So it goes back to the point. It all depends on what you want, and it's a really difficult one. We can leave Dubravka in because of that cup goalkeeper kind of status that we think that might be the case, but it really does all depend because it could quite easily go either way.
Yeah, let's leave it at that.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
Lock it in. Lock it in.
Definitely. What we didn't say at the beginning is everybody click the like. Click the like on this show. So everyone's watching right now, over 100 in the chat. There'll be many more that'll be watching. So anyone on watch back and anyone watching or listening audio related, go onto YouTube, go and give a like, because that means that more people can access this big match preview. And I had the pleasure of having Errol on as well. And look, if you're there, we might be on for a couple of more minutes. Throw us a super chat in. Put a super chat on the screen. Ask us a question. Ask us anything. We'll be around for.
I have a question for you, Pete. 5
minutes.
I have a question for you.
Throw a question out for us in the chat, and then we'll answer. Ask us anything for 5 minutes before we start to wrap up. But Daz, you've got a question, so come on.
The other news of the day that's breaking from hopefully we're talking a lot about Popey, but how about Hopey? Hopey had an article there this evening, and it's been debated about in different circles and by different journalists since then as well. But everyone in the chat listening already knows this already. But the article about a new stadium a potential new stadium in Leazes Park, 65,000. I know my thoughts on this. I want to hear your thoughts on it, Pete.
It's an interesting one. I've got the picture, so I'll just put it up on the screen for anyone that hasn't yet seen it.
Stalling there for some reason, right?
Yeah, just a little bit, just to give it time to load. That's all. But yeah, Newcastle now planning to build a 65 super stadium on Leazes Park. It says New St James's Park redesign shelved as club press ahead with stunning plans. Lots of other things that have been mentioned within it. Things like the fact that it's not going to impact on St James's Park whilst the stadium is being built. So the stadium will be built alongside Newcastle playing all of their games with full capacity at St James's Park as well. You know, it's for me, Daz, it's the right decision. I know some people won't like that. Some people sort of disagree. They want to stay at St James's Park. I get it. I love St James's Park. But thinking about us moving forward, thinking about the new era that we're trying to move into, I think a new stadium, not just a bigger stadium, but a new stadium is what we're after. I think not just for our satisfaction as fans, but for the players' satisfactions. They've talked about the tunnel being too small and narrow, and the changing rooms, although they've been redeveloped, still not up to scratch of where they want it to be. The inside, if anyone's been in the inside and looked around, it is very dated. It's great to always be in St James's Park and walk down the tunnel and around. And I've been lucky enough to do that a number of times. If anyone's been on a tour, you've been lucky enough to do that too. But it is dated when you look around a lot of other newer, more modern stadiums, and those things may not matter to us, but it will matter to the people behind the scenes, the players, the staff, people at the club that want to be in and around the best facilities. And that would take a monumental effort to do in the current stadium. So all these things can be planned and put into a brand new stadium, let alone the question mark about hospitality and them taking away tickets away from genuine fan-going Newcastle United Geordie fans. And all of those things can be factored into a new stadium. And you can have both. You can have an extended capacity where fans that turn up every week and have been for many a year can still go to the match and enjoy the match and still have a great opportunity of picking up tickets. But those hospitalities can still be accounted for on top of that. You're raising the opportunity of more people in the stadium. You're looking at people that are clamoring for season tickets. Could there be more of a possibility if you've got a bigger stadium? Can they offer maybe more on that? So there's all these things that you've got to take into consideration that actually would take us into the era. And then the thing that we've not talked about, which will be obviously an importance to the CEO and Brad Miller and our chairman, is the revenue that new stadium will bring. Outside of football and inside of football too. So all of these factors, guys, it just makes sense to do it now, to do it in a new stadium. There is no point for me, Newcastle United spending pretty much close to a similar amount to rebuild St James's Park, and it only have a small number of capacity increase of like 8,000, whereas you could potentially get 65,000, although Luke Edwards has come out tonight and said a final number hasn't been confirmed. Some people talking 70,000. Don't know what your thoughts are. Daz, would you go to 70,000?
Well, my thoughts here on this are one, I think it's the right decision that and even though it's not confirmed or anything yet, that we move to a new stadium and in Lees's Park, so it's close to St James's Park, and it's going to be sad losing the history of St James's Park. I haven't done the tour, but because I've always said I'm not doing the tour, because my wife asked me years ago, "Do you want to do the tour?" I said, I'm not doing the tour until we win something. I'm still waiting. But I might have to do it before if we are building a new stadium. But so if this is the decision, I'm delighted. But the one thing, and I know the chatters are saying it as well, it's the capacity. 65,000 is not enough. If you're doing this, you do it right. You don't do it either to be able to expand, which you probably would be, because it wouldn't be listed buildings around this. But if you're doing it, do it right and get it done. I also like the idea here as well that we can still play in St James's Park and then jump into the other one when it's done. We're not. It's not half and half, and then we're trying to find another place to play for the period of time, because it'll be a number of years until would be fully ready to go. But at the capacity issue, look, I would. People pick different numbers, but it has to be enough. 65 is not enough. I want well north of that. Even I want even higher than 70. But that, because for me, but I said something before, and I'm sure I'm not in the area of architecture and like that, but I'm in the area of R&D, and I'm sure there's possibilities of ways that seats can be contracted and like the way the roofs are today. You know how you can expand and contract the roof. Do the same with seats. I'm sure there's a way of doing that. Or get Joe Linton to move them in and out. He'd be well able to manage that. For games, but I think that is, and I was happy to hear the Luke Edwards piece that number isn't fixed. That's 60. And then there's other talk that Darren Eales only didn't want higher than 65 because how did they come up with this? But or where is this heard about? But because he didn't want one seat vacant in any game. Well,
Yeah.
Darren is going to be stepping down as CEO in the near future, and it's something, and you can let in people. Let's say there are a number of vacancies. Put out some cheaper tickets as well to expand to get the numbers in. So, like if Man United are building a 100,000 seater stadium, 65 is not enough. But we want to be competing at the same level as them and in the higher fields than them in the future. So build it for the future, not for the here and now, because once it is built and our financial issues with the PSR and everything, we're only going to get bigger and bigger. So and attract people from all over the world and all over England as well. They'll be wanting to come to St James's Park, and again, like the revenues from the different events that will be held there, and there'll always be something to do, always be something happening around the new stadium. So, but it's a thumbs up on the new stadium route.
Absolutely. People in the chat, I think, Tsunami Oz, they said demand has to outweigh supply, and I think it does at Newcastle United. I think, for me, I think anywhere between 68 and 72, I think is a good number as a starting point, with the ability to be able to expand. I think I've always had that sort of figure in my head, and I've always had in my head the ability to expand, because you look at the Etihad. The Etihad was a purposely built stadium, but they had a little something in there where they could expand, and they've expanded twice now off the back of that, and their capacity has grown. But I think anywhere between 68 and 72 would put us second, the second biggest club ground in the country, because Man United are 75, they'll be going up to 100, which is fair enough. But for us, I think 70, anywhere between 68 and 72, with the ability to rise with success and building on, would be the smart move to take us forward, and then we can reevaluate that once we're in it. But for me, Daz, I just need confirmation now. There's rumours of it being waiting till the end of the season. No, it just needs to be. It needs to be confirmed now. They need to do their
after the cup final.
Yeah, after the cup final, do what they need to do in terms of rubber stamp it with PIF and the council and everything else. Government, as you mentioned, it said that in the piece too. Get them all confirmed, and then get it out to the fans. Let us know exactly what's happening, how and where and when, just so the fans can then just take it in, because all of the constant speculation, is it going to be this, is it going to be that? We're being told tonight that it is going to be a new stadium, but even then, there's a question mark on how big's the stadium going to be. Like, we just need to know as fans, because everyone's just going to be speculating up until that.
Just two more points I was going to make, because if it was that 65,000, there's going to be a number of corporate tickets there that are going to eat into those figures as well. So it's not going to be. There's going to be more chances of opportunities for people to get tickets, but it's not going to be a massive amount. And like, by building a new stadium here, it should eliminate the word ballot. The ballot shouldn't exist anymore. That if you want to go to a game, you can go to a game. You have a 90% chance of going to a game rather than a 50-50 or whatever the percentage is with the ballot today. That and you can pick you can pick the games you want to go to as well, and of course the increase in number of season tickets and so on and so forth.
I think there'd be for a lot. I think there'd be probably a lesser need for a ballot, or there'd be more success, which is another thing that a lot of fans have been talking about, and there's been a lot of fan frustration, because there has been some fans that have gone into every ballot and been successful and have been loving life. There has been some fans that have gone into a ballot and not won at all, and that's where the frustration, I think, is with fans, and that's where I genuinely think it should be between 68 and 72 for that reason, as you've just said, Daz, and I agree. Try and get as many fans into that stadium. There's fans that are clamoring week in, week out, whether they live in Newcastle, whether they live on the outskirts of the northeast, whether they live in another part of the country, are desperate to go to St. James's Park to be watching matches on a regular basis. The demand will be there in a brand new stadium because everybody's going to want to be there. And if we're winning matches on top of that, Daz, even more of a reason. I think the demand will be there for sure.
And just think of another reason as well. You want to go to a Newcastle game because you're a Newcastle fan, but you decide you want to bring your friend with you, and you get to sit beside your friend. Then they may in turn become a Newcastle fan. Who knows? You're expanding the family. Then they'll buy merch and so on and so forth. This is how you increase, you grow. It becomes an empire. And family and stuff as well, getting them in, and you'll be able to start off the next generation of Newcastle fans. So it all makes sense.
Me and my mates used to do that years ago. Like when we were younger, obviously, we used to go on a bit of a all day. We'd go on a sort of a drinking session, and we'd go to each other's clubs that we support, and we'd go. Like it'd be Hinckley United one week, it'd be Sheffield United the next. The boys would come up to Newcastle. We were up there. We were up there the weekend or the day that we got promoted back to the Premier League, because we were playing against Sheffield United at home. This was the one in 2009, 2010. We were playing at home to Sheffield United that night, and I remember Forest were playing West Brom, and I think we needed like a draw or something, and it worked out for us. So we got promoted that night, and then we went and beat Sheffield United, and all the boys came up. Like, they all support different clubs. They all came up to St. James's Park. They all came to watch the game. It was that. We don't want to be taking those tickets away from genuine fans, but if there's an option to take some of those fans to come and watch a game, then it happens all over the country. But look, first and foremost, it's getting Newcastle fans in there. Can we build a stadium big enough to get Newcastle fans in that stadium? So there are less with a ballot. There are less that are struggling to get in, week out. Claire G just said she won one ballot this season, one ballot last season. Like that shouldn't be happening. That's never happened before the takeover and before the ballots came into place. It never happened before. There was never this issue with tickets before the ballot system came in, and we just need to make sure that stops. We need to either make it more efficient with the ballot system, or the stadium, the new stadium, make it a non-issue so everybody can get in as much as possible. And as Claire said, with the season tickets, if there's a chance of season tickets coming about in the future, whenever that may be, it gives people a chance to secure one too.
I'm just thinking as well from in Ireland, and even there's an ad on TV in Ireland, and it's Shay Given, and it's for Champion Travel, and it's so you can get an kind of package deal to go over to games and see Premier League games. You can't get it for Newcastle, but it's a bit pointless. Shay Given being the face of the ad, but like. That aspect as well, that you can decide to go and maybe you've never been to St. James's Park or whatever, and you are a Newcastle fan, but you never got to the chance. I wouldn't know how to get a ticket, that kind of a way, and you just giving people the opportunity that haven't got it or haven't seeked out the route to get over to games. So it's just make it more attainable for everyone, I guess.
Yeah,
the extra capacity.
Yes. Let's see. Still a long way down the road. Still lots to be confirmed yet. But look, let's wait and see how it all unfolds. But look, positive news that they are close to a decision. Looks like a new stadium is the way forward, and let's just hope that us fans get a lot of consultation on what that stadium looks like and how it's put together when it is eventually confirmed. So let's wait and see on that. But yeah, positive news all round. But ultimately, let's put a trophy in the cabinet first.
Yeah.
Then we can talk about new stadiums. Would be lovely to have a trophy or two by then, ready to put in the new cabinet of a new stadium. And why not start on Sunday, Baz? We started with how big this game was on Sunday. will end it with how big this game is on Sunday. A monumental game. Boys, do us proud. Give every ounce of energy. Give everything you possibly can. Let it all out onto the pitch. Leave nothing for chance. And hopefully bring the trophy home.
If they want a fast game, let's go fucking give it to them. Right, we leave it there. See you on the reaction show.
Come on, boys. Come on.
Come on, lads.
Close down. Shares won it. Gordon. This time it's in. This time it's in from Anthony Gordon. And Newcastle United are almost there.
If they want a quick game, coming in, let's fucking get it. Let's blow them away with our running. Let's be intense in every action that we do. Let's make it a quick game. Let's go.